Let's talk about Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals. There's a lot of interesting things going on with this team long term. This was the first season underneath Jonathan Gannon and Drew Petzing, the offensive coordinator. I like Drew Petzing a lot, and I do want to start off with their offense because Kyler Murray is the biggest elephant in the room. They're not going to move off of Kyler Murray. They're going to keep him for the next couple of years because of that contract. But Kyler Murray, depending on who you talk to, some believe he's a top 10. Some believe that he's just a top 15 quarterback. He's a guy that is a very good quarterback, in my opinion. He's not a top 5 quarterback. He's not on the same level at guys like Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow. But he's not in the best situation right now. The offensive line has always been an issue with this team, even when they made those trades. And when they released DeAndre Hopkins, it left a huge hole at the wide receiving position. Yes, you have Marquise Hollywood Brown, who's had some good moments with this team, but he's not a true number 1 wide receiver. This season, he missed a lot of time recovering from that ACL, but when he did come back, he did look fine. He had 10 passing touchdowns, 5 interceptions in 8 games this season for also 244 rushing yards and 3 rushing touchdowns. Kyler Murray needs a number 1 wide receiver. And this team should be looking to draft Marvin Harrison Jr. in the first round. You pair him up with Marquise Hollywood Brown, Greg Dortch, who is a very good wide receiver with this team. You could be cooking with something. And it's also another top target with this team that not too many people talk about. Trey McBride had 81 catches this season for 825 receiving yards and 3 receiving touchdowns. He was a top tight end this season, and not too many people talk about that. He is a special talent, and him and Kyler Murray are definitely going to grow together. You put Marvin Harrison Jr. with this team and with Kyler Murray's ability to run the football at a high level with James Conner, you're going to be cooking with some things. And the offensive line has played better throughout this season. It looked better than what the offensive line has looked for in Kyler Murray's entire NFL career, to be completely honest. And a lot of that comes down from the play calling from Drew Petzing. You look at James Conner. 1,040 rushing yards on the season and 7 rushing touchdowns, and he's averaging 5 yards a carry. He's one of the best power backs in the NFL, and he's a guy that you can get the football to 20 to 25 times in a game. That's my type of running back. Keep him around in this roster, do that read option system with Kyler Murray, and just keep some things going. You can be in a great situation. The only thing that bothers me with Marquise Hollywood Brown, besides the drops in the past with the Ravens, he can't stay healthy. That's it. But if he can stay fully healthy with this team, he has a great friendship with Kyler Murray off the field, and he has a good connection with him on the field. Keep him around, and he could be a very good number 2 to number 3 option with this team. If he's a number 3 option, you're definitely doing some things right with this roster. Because him as a number 2, that's phenomenal. With the speed that he has, he can open things up for everyone else on the field. And with you having Trey McBride as well, that's a good recipe for this team in the future. Now, defensively, they need a lot of work. Now, Jonathan Gannon is a very good defensive game planner. His schemes are phenomenal, in my opinion. I think of him highly. He's one of the better defensive minds in the NFL. He was a great defensive coordinator with the Philadelphia Eagles last season. And we saw the fall off with the Philadelphia Eagles with their defense this season when he's not their defensive play caller. Their defense wasn't great this season, but they were competitive in games. They beat the Atlanta Falcons. They beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. They also went out there and beat the Dallas Cowboys as well with their defensive alone. And he went out there and won that game with Josh Dobbs as his quarterback. No disrespect to Josh Dobbs, but he's not a true starting quarterback in the NFL, and he's a backup at best. For you to go out there and be able to win those games against teams like that, and also the Philadelphia Eagles as well, that's a great accomplishment for Jonathan Gannon, because this is a team that is still in the rebuilding process. Look at what they just did. They just released DeAndre Hopkins, and J.J. Watt just retired. And for you to be able to go out there and keep those guys engaged for the entire season, that's a great sign to see. Because most coaches would go out there, they'll just lay over and say, man, you know what? Let's play for the first overall pick. We don't have our starting quarterback. He didn't do that. He kept these guys in the game with his defensive adjustments as well. He's a very good defensive play call as well with this team. Zaven Collins is a very interesting defensive player with this team. He's been moved around the defense and for his entire career with this team. They had Isaiah Simmons. They basically went out there and they traded Isaiah Simmons to the New York Giants because they didn't know how to use him. And I think that was a good trade to move off of him. Budda Baker is still with this roster. He's not that same safety that he was a couple of years ago. Not saying that he's a bad safety, but this season he wasn't that impactful on the field. Still a solid safety. He wasn't that same guy. That's something to take note of as well, because if he starts to regress, it'll be better to move off of him now than to just keep him long term with this team. Garrett Williams is a number 2 corner at best with this team. I like Antonio Hamilton Sr. as well. He's not a true number 1, but he's a solid veteran to have with his team in the cornerback position. BJ Ojulari, that's my type of pass rusher right there. Only 4 sacks on the season from LSU. He was a draft pick this year with this team. He's going to develop into being a good, valuable player with this team as well, and he fits with Jonathan Gannon once. Like I mentioned before, I'm not saying that next season the team's going to go out there and compete for a Super Bowl. I'm not saying that Kyler Murray will be a top 5 to top 10 quarterback next season. What I'm saying is you go out there and put the right pieces with this team. There is no reason why they can't go out there and win 7 to 8 games next season, or even 9 games next season. And 9 games may be good enough to get them into the playoffs next season. You look at their division, it is tough. You have the San Francisco 49ers, which are a juggernaut right now. The Seattle Seahawks just fired Pete Carroll. We'll see what direction they head into. And you also have the Los Angeles Rams as well with Sean McVay. It starts with the trenches. If the offensive line can keep Kyler Murray upright and he can stay healthy, the sky's the limit with this team, because you can argue he's the most talented quarterback in that division. It's just the size. That's it. And that's something you're going to have to deal with for the rest of his career. He's not going to go out there and grow another 4 to 5 inches as his career progresses. But give Kyler Murray a lot of credit. He worked his butt off to come back from that ACL injury after all those people were killing him for playing Call of Duty and not focusing on the playbook. I'm happy that they moved off of Cliff Kingsbury and they're heading to the right direction with Jonathan Gannon. But we will see. The jury is still out with this team. They go get Marvin Harrison Jr. and put more weapons around Kyler Murray. They can be in a very good situation. But let me know in the comment section below how you feel about the Arizona Cardinals. How do you feel about Kyler Murray? If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, when each and every last one, guys, stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Peace.